You're listening to Mad Men Sports.
And watching.
And watching for the first week. This is our post-game kind of recap, presented by Black Button Distilling. To my left, I have Zach. Zach, buddy, how you doing?
Fantastic. Studio's up and running. The Bills are up and running. 3-0 in preseason podcast and games. Very exciting stuff. I cannot lie.
Yeah, and to my right, we have Timon Dave. Dave, buddy, what's going on?
Here's our ugly mugs.
I know. I'm so
single,
happy.
Ladies, single.
I'm so happy that we aren't the only two that get to see your beautiful face.
No, you're not. Now the world does.
Thank God.
Diamond Dave's out there for the world.
So, guys, like you said, Bills are 3-0 in exhibition games. They beat the Lions 24-20. Some things to talk about. Struggles early from the offense. Lots of penalties. Zach,
oh my God, lots of penalties. It's oozing with penalties today.
Yeah, I think
sloppy play all around.
Midway through the third quarter, they said there was 18 accepted penalties. That's just atrocious, whether the games count or not. Zach, what are your kind of first thoughts from the game today?
Well, sloppy. A lot of injuries up front. I mean, Quentin Spain came out of the building today with a walking boot and crutches. It's never good to see from a guy that's been kind of a cornerstone at your left guard all offseason and, mini camp here, training camp, all the way throughout first 3 games. He's out for right now. I'd say it's an easy fix if you just move John Feliciano over and maybe Mitch Morse can play the center finally. It's all preliminary at this point, but the idea of the injuries and the penalties kind of accumulating all of a sudden isn't a great one because this was supposed to be like the dress rehearsal for real. I mean, this is supposed to be like the show. This is your game 3, as close as going to get to the real thing. You got to really, can't take it for granted what's going on, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and Dave, what did you think about the game today?
Well, before we start, there was a lot of bright spots for the game. A lot of strong positions look good. Players that we talked about in the last podcast look good. But the big one was, I think Josh Allen looked awful today, guys. I know it's preseason. I'll pump the brakes, but he did not play well.
And I think
his passes were not accurate at all.
I think what contributed to that was just the lack of the passing game. I mean, they ran the ball consistently. I mean, Cole Beasley's pass was a pretty spot-on pass. I mean, he dropped the ball. That Zay Jones, that back shoulder throw.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that was necessarily a horrible pass. I don't think Zay Jones turned around correctly for it. Zach, what do you think about Josh Allen's performance?
I think Dave's exaggerating a little bit with it being a horrible performance. 3 for 6. It's really not bad. It's 50%. I mean, only throwing 6 passes. Obviously, you've had some problems. I mean, the Cole Beasley one counts, but that kind of stalled the drive out a little bit. The third down pass to Zay Jones on the back shoulder fade, that didn't really, that wasn't really a good connection there for Zay Jones and Josh Allen. We've seen that they have been able to establish a connection between the two. I'm going to say that today was a fluke. Zay Jones, we'll get into that a little bit later. He's got some problems going on.
Oh, we will.
On the surface today. He's got some, discrepancies, apparently. But you take away that back shoulder throw, maybe you catch that. It's 4 for 6 then. He almost had 50 yards, which if you're throwing 3 passes that are completions and you're almost at 50 yards, it's not terrible. The sky isn't falling for Josh Allen. We've seen him for the first 2 games. He's looked pretty decent in the second game. We know what he's capable of. He may have he kind of got lucky, on that a cross-body throw while fading out of bounds that was intercepted, but he got a pretty phantom roughing the passer.
His acting job was great there.
Yeah, I mean, and you know what? As a starting quarterback in the NFL, you almost have to throw that on a little bit. So I'm not going to sit here and say that Josh Allen struggled, but maybe you got to fine-tune some of the things that he did today. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's definitely his least impressive performance out of the preseason, which is bound to happen. Of course, he doesn't have a lot of experience within the league. I mean, this is only his sophomore season. I expect him to get these kinks out by week 1 and get ready to go.
How long have I been saying it for? It's his first offseason as an actual starter. Got to let the kinks work out.
Yeah, and kind of transitioning as well a little bit. The running backs had a good day as well. I mean, a lot of Shady's runs in particular were taken back by penalty. But, I mean, you got to like what you see out of all of them.
Makes you feel good, doesn't it?
It makes you feel
McCoy
good.
looked young, fresh. He looked like he was ready to play again.
Even more
And-
so, 36-year-old Frank Gore.
And
He
Gore,
looked like a spring chicken.
Gore had a lot of holes, and he was fired up and ready to get in there. We didn't see Singletary too much. We saw what we need to see out of him. We didn't see much out of the guys trying to make the team, but the starting guys, they looked great. Makes you feel good, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, definitely. And it gets me excited. Zach, what did you think about the offensive rushing kind of attack today?
They definitely threw an emphasis on rushing the football, which is really nice to see because the first 2 games, they really didn't. So kind of getting the ball rolling a little bit with, Matt Patricia's defense, who, gave the Bills some trouble a little bit when he was with the New England Patriots. But to kind of go up against, a ground and pound type game plan going against the Lions today, I didn't mind it. You need to see a little bit out of the running backs. It's hard to feed both those guys. You got Frank Gore, a future Hall of Famer, LaShawn McCoy, a maybe future Hall of Famer. Really got to, iron out what you're going to do with your starting running back, who's getting the bulk of the carries. That'll constantly fluctuate, I imagine. But you had to kind of see who hit holes. Can both of them still do it? Do they both deserve roster spots? Because after a while, you can't have two 30-year-old ineffective running backs on your team. So it was good to see that both of them had a little pep in their step. I think the fact that both of them are on the same team will kind of reinvigorate both of them to kind of, dick measure themselves a little bit. Oh, I can do a little bit better than you. I can do a little bit better than you.
You'd expect that there'd be a two-way, inner competition.
Absolutely.
You
Yeah,
got the old guys there. You want to see who outperforms each other. So in and of itself, that's kind of important
It's
as
kind
well.
of a healthy competition because they both want to start. They both have never been a backup before. Gore has switched in and out with people before, but McCoy's always been the centerfold of the offense. So it's kind of a healthy competition. It is a debate within itself whether they're both on the team still week 1. I do believe they will be. I think they played well enough tonight to confirm they will be. But Singletary didn't play much. He's very comfortable in his role, and he towards the end of the year, after probably week 8, week 10, I think he's the main focus of the offense.
Yeah, and I totally agree. Kind of talking about Frank Gore as well. I don't want to call it a scare, but it looked like he was banged up on
Just
that
a Charlie
play.
horse.
And that wasn't the only injury.
Yeah, can we talk about injuries?
Yeah, you have Quentin Spain, as Zach said, leaving with crutches and a walking boot. Trey
Never good to
White
see.
has a contusion of his quad, I believe.
That was scary. You could hear the
Yeah.
whole city of Buffalo gasping.
Him and Levi Wallace went down today, and, both of them were able to, kind of walk it off.
I'm sure if it was regular season, they'd be back in the game.
Exactly. So, don't need to sound the alarms on both the cornerbacks. But, that was a scary moment, I'd say, right?
Yeah, especially when you're touted starting cornerbacks to get injured at separate times. I believe it was in the same quarter, But, Johnson played pretty well in their place. So, you got to be happy there. It shows that the depth that you have on that defense, which kind of, at least if one of them gets injured for a short amount of time, you know that you're going to be all right back there.
Yeah, speaking of the defense, could we talk about someone that really impressed me tonight?
Who's that?
Shaq Lawson was in the backfield every single play. That guy wants to be paid.
As he should be. I think he's proven at the last half of last year, all the way through this offseason and through this preseason, that he has value. And, that's super important because he is looking for that money, that big contract.
The problem we're going to face is the same problem we face every single couple of years. We don't sign him on time. We always wait till the last end of the season to do so when the money's skyrocketing high. They want to hit the open market. Sign the guy now, lock him up now, get it done with. You don't have to sign him monster money right now. If you do it now, you don't have to. You also have Trent Murphy, who you paid big money to, who's also playing decent. And Jerry Hughes is only getting older, and he's only got 2 or 3 years left. You got to start making tough decisions on the defensive line.
Yeah, and I think they have. They invested so much in Ed Oliver, which I believe is going to be a fantastic player. You got some depth guys with Murphy, Phillips, and stuff like that. So, yeah, I would say that we're okay. We might want to tackle up that defensive end spot, but other than that, I think we're all right.
I'd say for the most part, the pass rush really impressed me today. From the 1s all the way to the 5s, whatever you want to call them. They were in the backfield constantly applying pressure. The pressure was there even when Stafford was in. They didn't sack him often, but they were able to put him on his back a little bit. They were able to, make their presence felt. And that was really important throughout the game because pretty much a big problem last year was not having a lot of pass rush during the game. I know we all have the stat about Jerry Hughes being in the top 3 in pass rushes, edge rushes. That's important, but having the whole unit as the defensive line do that is extremely important, and that's something I really look forward to seeing progress as time goes on. So hopefully that'll continue to happen. I love to see it. Like, I have a big note here. Shaq Lawson had a great game. The only time will tell whether he deserves another contract with the Buffalo Bills or he plays out the open market, which I know Dave wants to pay him right now. I want to pay people that are consistent, and if he's only going to play during contract year, I want to see something else then, because you have to earn your money every day.
You have to take risks. The Bills have lost too many players to waiting all the time. You just need to take risks. This is supposed to be a new era, new GM, new way of do things. Take some risks. Sign some guys.
You know, you want to go that route, but I trust this whole front office, coach, everything, to replace these players almost, without a hitch in the step at all. I trust them to find a different player, fill it in, and act like that player didn't even leave. That seems to be something that they do, if not plug and replace with a better player lately. I love what they've been able to do. Been able to do for the last 3 years. I look forward to seeing what they do with the Shaq Lawson situation in particular. I think there's room to grow on this roster always.
Yeah, definitely. Anything to add there?
No, I have another topic I'm itching to get to.
Please. Well, tell me first. What is it?
Zay Jones. Can we have a long argument about this? I cannot wait to argue with both of you about it.
Because I think
because I know
you
we'll not
differ
see eye to
on
eye.
both
I do.
of our opinions.
I have a very passionate feeling about it.
Please, let's start that.
The fact that he was playing into the fourth quarter today, is that concerning to you guys that he makes the opening day roster? I think the coaches were challenging him.
It's definitely an interesting move. I don't think he's on the bubble. I mean, he's still on his rookie contract. You're not paying him much. But it is definitely weird because I don't think it's just from a rep standpoint.
He's also playing special teams in practice.
Right.
So they're trying to find something else for him to do.
And this might come from bias for me because I am a Zay Jones stan, but I just can't see him not making this roster. I mean, maybe Duke Williams kind of changes that a little bit.
Right now.
But, I mean, he was our number 1 wide receiver last year in terms of performance.
On a very bad receiving core.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but we don't have all-stars out there now. So
Agreed.
I mean, yeah, we know what we have with John Brown, Cole Beasley, Robert Foster, but I mean, I still think there is a spot for Zay Jones on this team. I do agree with you there that it was a little weird that he was playing into that fourth quarter, but I think they pulled him, I mean, not even halfway through the fourth. So, I mean, yeah, he's playing with the 2s turning into 3s, but I don't know, it's definitely a weird thing.
McDermott said he wanted to give him as many reps as possible. I think he's playing the coach role there. I think they're frustrated with him. They want to see what they can get out of him, and he had a very nice catch in the third. The pass that Barkley threw to him was beauty. He played well, but this is also preseason. We need to see more production out of him. Yeah, I completely agree with the coaches putting him in there.
What do you think, Zach, about the Zay Jones situation?
I think there's a lot of smoke and mirrors here just from Dave's sky is falling chicken little aspect here. I think they know what they have in Zay Jones. I don't think they know what they have in Duke Williams, and I mean, to a lesser extent, know what they have with Isaiah McKenzie. I think they wanted to cycle those guys in a little bit more with the first teamers while also giving Zay Jones his reps. I don't think it's doom and gloom. We spoke last week pretty passionately that we don't know what we have with these wide receivers because Tyree Jackson's been so terrible with the 2s and 3s a little bit when Barkley's out. So I don't fault McDermott by rotating these guys through. And maybe it's a Dable decision. I don't know. Maybe it's Zay Jones just saying, hey, I'm okay with taking the back seat because you guys know what you can get out of me. You know you can get 50 catches with 600 yards if possible. I think last year wasn't a great year for the passing offense as a whole, and I think Zay Jones still put up NFL quality numbers with that offense. So I don't think it's doom and gloom with him. I do think that he's got a nice rapport with Josh Allen. Obviously, we talked about the third down catch he missed with the back shoulder fade. So he was with the ones a little bit. I don't think it's the end of the world. I do see that there could be competition in this offense with wide receiver. I don't think that's ever changing. I think that's going to go all the way up until cut days, and I think you're going to have a problem come cut days because Duke Williams had a great catch today for a touchdown, and then he followed up Isaiah McKenzie, who had a great gadget play for a touchdown.
Which is what he did last year, too.
Exactly. So this wide receiver competition's only getting more heated with the fact that we know that Zay Jones is probably safe on this roster. Maybe if someone comes calling, it may be a little, more willing to move him because you have all these gadget players and, Duke Williams working into the team so well. You might be better off. Maybe you can get something for him. If that works out, that's a long shot still. I don't think he's gone. So
I think that Zay Jones has been on the team for 3-4 years. I think you're downplaying. He hasn't done anything on this team. And he's been in the starting role for the whole career that he's been on the team.
I think you're over pursuing how this passing offense has been terrible all these years.
I'm not, because he's had his chance to step up.
And he did last year.
I think players around him are stepping up. Duke Williams was not, as our friend said on the TV, has been non-existent 2 weeks ago. He's grabbed the brass ring and he's taking it now.
Let me make a point here. So we all know that his rookie season, atrocious. Had a problem with drop passes, was abysmal, dropped a game winner. Do you recognize that there was a huge leap from his rookie season to his first season?
In my opinion, the leap's not big enough. It's time to win now. It's time to perform now.
So, perfect, because
I loved the fact that coaches are challenging him tonight.
So,
putting him in there.
listen
I'm
to
not
this.
so sure they're challenging him, though.
So,
I think that's a
You
contrived...
need to wring the towel out and get all the water you can out of it.
So, McDermott wants his guys to succeed. He kind of broke house, brought all of his guys that he wanted in. He's not so willing to get rid of those guys willy-nilly. So, he's seeing the improvement from Zay Jones from rookie to year one, and he's seeing, I believe, a leap again coming into his second year. So, I mean, he's not going to be so easy just to let him go. I mean, wasn't his first draft, right?
Absolutely. He wasn't so effective, and now he's
Becoming
exactly.
effective.
Sean McDermott made a point to draft him. They traded up for him, just like almost everyone they did in that draft class besides Trey White because they traded backwards.
Exactly.
But he came at a value. He came at a premium. Out of college, he was highly touted. Had all those catches in college at East Carolina University. Shout out. Sure. But at a certain point, Dave's almost correct to the point where he is a second-round draft pick. You have to do something with him eventually. I don't think it's an immediate thing. I think they know that they've lacked in the passing offense the last couple of years. His first year, they traded out Tyrod Taylor, who took them to the playoffs with Nathan Peterman in Week 11. I mean, and then last year they had a carousel of quarterbacks, and Zay Jones still put up NFL relative numbers throughout the back half of the season. I don't think that Zay Jones has had a chance to grow, so I think if they were to cut ties with him, I think that'd be a terrible knee-jerk reaction, but I don't think these guys are knee-jerkers either. So
I mean, we sat here in the other room, actually, but we all sat here and we discussed receivers, and we discussed it's time to get more out of these people and all that, and there's 2 receivers that have been pushed, 3 receivers that stepped up the challenge. We have McKenzie, Duke, and Ray McLeod, who just has consistent practices. 2 of those players caught touchdowns tonight, which is, again, preseason. But Robert Foster has been non-existent. He doesn't get a pass here, and I'm a big fan of his. And Zay Jones, it's time. You're not going to play in the last game, and if he does, he is done. You're not going to play in the last game. It's time to get something. The coaches have tough decisions because the players around them have said, we're stepping up. What are you doing? And it's true. What is he doing?
hold on. I think that there is weight to your conversation, but I don't think that there is a huge amount of pressure to the coaching staff. These guys could roll out 7 wide receivers. Everyone's talking about the 6th wide receiver on the team. They could go with 7. They have talent there. It's something they lacked last year as they went into the depths of bringing back Deontay Thompson and Robert Foster coming back from the practice squad. They might say, fuck it. We want to have guys up here for the long term. We want them to get used to it. We want a gadget player for this game. We want a tall wide receiver for this game. It doesn't hurt to have these guys up here, stay up here, get rid of one of the shitty tight ends because they're not good. We don't know what Tyler Kroft is. I mean, he's going to stay on this team.
You know for sure you're keeping 3 tight ends with Kroft, Sweeney, and Knox. You know they're not going anywhere.
What about Lee Smith then? That's 4 tight ends. I don't know
why Lee Smith's still on this team.
I don't think they need to carry 4 tight ends. And Lee Smith has a multi-year contract. That's going to be harder to move. And I don't think it's something they were against doing. But at a certain point, you have to decide whether or not you want a Lee Smith or Pat DeMarco. And I know everyone says that Pat DeMarco is safe on this team.
DeMarco.
I just don't see the need for a fullback in a time.
It's 2019.
Exactly. In a time where you need to have open, empty sets. Now, get rid of Pat DeMarco, get rid of Lee Smith, and keep an extra wide receiver that can come and stay in and block. Dawson Knox is a great blocking tight end. We've seen that now. We know in a game scenario he's capable.
Lee Smith is my dad.
No, but I'm saying you could get rid of those guys and make it work somewhere else. You have a swing tackle that can also come in during the middle of the game.
Ooh, who's that?
Ty Nsekhe. He can be a swing tackle on the right side or the left side. Just add him in if you need an extra blocker for a certain play. It's not doom and gloom for these wide receivers. They don't know what they're doing. Brian Dable knows that he needs to have playmakers on this roster. It's something they lacked last year. It's something they lacked on the roster the year before. But you need to have those guys so you can make this team successful on the offense, which is something they've lacked since almost my whole life. Chan Gailey had a pretty good time.
I'll say as a little tidbit, and I've said it before, maybe a month ago, Pat DeMarco's not going anywhere. He was a captain last year. He's probably going to be a captain this year. He's a leader in the locker room. They need leaders in the locker room. He's not going anywhere. Unless Gore takes his captain spot. But I'm not going to sit here and talk about captains.
Does Gore take his... Anyways,
yeah.
We talked about this last podcast.
Is McCoy a captain?
He was last year.
Did John Brown do enough to impress you today? That was one of your big things, your big stinks.
So
that
I'll
you
answer
wanted
that
to show.
saying no, but the lack of production from the other receivers is protecting him.
With 6 passes, he had
I
2
left
catches.
tonight still not satisfied with the receivers, and you guys shouldn't be either. Duke Williams stepped up, played well.
Jeez.
That's it.
And that's okay.
Cole Beasley had a fumble. Other than that, impress me. Tell me otherwise, guys.
Well, I mean, that's probably the last of John Brown that we've seen in the preseason, so we're going to have to wait.
He
until
had a
week
couple
1.
good practices.
Listen, he's a starter. He's your number one wide receiver on the outside.
Because of elimination.
Oh.
Yeah, because they don't have Odell Beckham and Julio Jones on this team. You have to go with what you have.
I'm not satisfied with the receivers. I'm sorry, and I want to see more out of them. This was the chance to do so tonight. We didn't see it.
And that's fine.
Sorry for your loss. I don't know what you want. These guys have to play. I mean, you have to go with the guys you have in the roster. These are the guys they have in the roster. I think John Brown's more than capable of what they have on the roster. He averages like 40 catches a year with almost 600 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's just off the top of my head. But those are fine stats.
That's a number one receiver to you?
No, it's not. It's a number one receiver on this roster.
That's the Bills thing. We're okay with mediocrity.
Okay, go on the street and find another wide receiver. Because you can't.
We have a GM.
Oh,
to do
but
that.
Duke Williams had a good game today.
He had a good game. I never stood here and said Duke Williams is the number one receiver. Oh, no. I said he played more than the guy that's supposed to be the number one receiver.
Because it's preseason.
It is preseason.
They're not scheming for John Brown.
4 times every single podcast. It's preseason. I'm chilling out. But the problem is, so are the players, because none of them stepped up to play.
They don't need to.
And you can't sit here and
John Brown doesn't need to do anything. Zay Jones isn't proving anything.
Criticized for not doing much. They stepped up and looked like number one running backs.
No, the game plan stepped up. They're not scheming for these wide receivers.
You know that.
You know that they did today. They don't carry the ball as often as they did with 3 running backs having 3 rushing touchdowns.
I never sat here and said Brown sucks. I never stood here and said
you're trying
You
to
definitely did say John Brown sucks.
I said that weeks ago, and I
he wasn't even making
since.
this team.
But what I am sitting here saying,
he's the number one wide receiver on this team.
You gave me stats that said 40 catches a game, 500 yards,
and that's his baseline.
That's what we're okay with.
No, that's the worst he could do.
I want more out of. I want Zay Jones to double that.
In the first 3 weeks last year, as Joe Flacco was the starting quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens, John Brown was the number one wide receiver in the NFL, and you could take that to the bank because that's factual.
And then the Ravens cut him. So where did that get you?
Because they switched their whole offense.
He's on his third team.
They run a double wing offense now. They have all running backs. They have a full need for a fullback. They need someone to block their 2 running backs to touch the ball.
I guess we'll know during cut day. I'm not saying any of those guys are getting cut. I'm saying we need to challenge them to get more out of them.
I'm challenging you to tell me what you think these guys need to do in preseason. Because they're not going to show you something
They need
today.
to be more than practice warriors. They need to go out there and play better.
Why? Why put tape out there with this offense?
Because we're going into a week 1 of the season, which everyone's
against
saying,
the hampered Jets
saying
team.
the Jets are going to be easy to beat. I'm sick of saying that. There's no easy wins in this league, and you know that. You keep texting me and telling me, Joan, this Jets out, that Jets out.
Because they're out.
It doesn't matter.
It does when they're not going to play.
Right now we have a hampered offensive line. We have receivers that we don't know much about. We have Josh Allen, who talks well in the media and is a very good quarterback, but he hasn't proven anything yet.
Great guy.
Listen, you want to talk about a hampered offensive line? We have a guy on the Derek Anderson concussion protocol scenario right now. We have a left guard that just went out that we can immediately put another NFL starter in place. We have depth at the offensive line. It's not hampered. We're lucky at the offensive line this year.
Well, fans listening, please comment on this and tell us what side you're on of this. And keep in mind,
it's not doom and gloom.
I don't hate the receivers, and I think very positive. I still think we're going 9-7. I still think we're going to have a winning record.
This is a great team, 9-7. I'm going 11-5.
I'm realistic.
I'll split the middle.
I've been through the bad years.
10-6.
I'm realistic.
I've been through the bad years too. I didn't wake up a Bills fan
and I
this
also
morning.
know that we should be getting more productionized receivers that everyone's.
Why? It's preseason.
Everyone is just absolutely loving.
If this was week 8 and you're demanding more
This will
production,
be a fun conversation week 8.
if this was week 8 and you were demanding more production out of this, maybe I'd understand. But right now, what do you want from them? What do you want? What are you looking for?
I wanted to be impressed. I said that last week.
You don't have to be impressed right now. Be impressed week 1, 2, 3. When they're putting up 100 yards a game.
I hope they are. I hope.
I hope so too in this offense that they're setting up.
Wrong.
I'm not going to prove you wrong. I hope they prove you wrong.
I wanted the second-tier receivers to step up, and they did.
How many passes do you want these guys to catch in preseason?
It has nothing to do with
Tell
passes.
Tell me wide receivers that are catching 8 catches a game in preseason.
It has to do with being impressive or looking well.
So you're a guy that's putting way too much stock in the fact that it's probably 3-0. Oh, well, at least they'll carry that into the season. What do you want from them? This is preseason. These games don't matter. If anything, the 3-0 shows that they have depth on this team.
Building consistency and continuity with your quarterback matters, and that
exactly. Let them do that in practice. Let them do it.
Practice.
That failed to happen. A week ago, Cole Beasley went out in 4-for-4 with Josh Allen.
And
they were at Wendy's doing the 4-for-4.
And I said there that he looked very well. Tonight he had a fumble. I'm not saying these guys aren't allowed to make mistakes.
It's preseason.
Cole Beasley's still going to be.
You think Cole Beasley went home and beat his dog?
Receiver in the league.
Jesus.
He doesn't care.
You guys sit here every week and put all the stock in Brown. You guys sit here every week and put all the stock in Zay Jones. You guys sit here and put all the stock in Foster. What have they done? Not a damn thing.
You're the one putting stock in Foster.
We know what Zay Jones done. We know what Robert Foster's done.
Zach, they haven't done a damn thing. You said that yourself. They haven't done a damn thing in this league.
They don't need to right now.
Your idea of a number one receiver is 40 catches and 600 yards. You said that, not me.
That's my idea of a bad wide receiver, which is their baseline. These guys are more than capable. John Brown's second year in the league, he had 1,000 yards.
Then why, again, did the Cardinals let him go?
Because
what
of
is the deal that
problems.
they're not keeping him? I said this weeks ago. I want more productionized receivers. I didn't feel confident going into the season with these weapons that we have.
On the first filmed podcast, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. That's the craziest thing I've ever thought right now. Oh, my God. You're lucky the Red Sox are winning 11-0 right now.
Can we go to Mad
This will be a
Men
fun
by the
conversation to
numbers?
have in a couple weeks.
Again,
it's not fun for anyone because you're so...
Again, please leave comments on this and tell us what side you're on because this will be fun tomorrow morning.
yeah, Dave's
Our next
gonna be
segment is
butthurt.
presented by Jake. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, so I felt a little uncomfortable there, I'll be honest.
It's good TV.
First things first, I will not be sitting between you guys. I'm terrified, but whatever. Mad Men.
Everyone in this room is lucky that you're sitting in between us right now.
Jeez.
I'm perfectly fine. I can control myself. I'm an adult.
It's an adult. But Mad Men by the numbers, sponsored by Prima Pizza Pasta on Chippewa, so you know it's downtown. They're closed on Sundays, but that's okay because they have lunch specials. Their chicken finger pizza. Let me tell you about their chicken finger pizza. I've eaten a lot of subs in my day. I'm 22 years old. By far, my favorite chicken finger pizza. I've had them all.
Youngest guy on the pod.
And that's fine because I do eat my chicken finger pizzas and I know where to get them. And that's Prima Pizza Pasta. So, first question for you guys. You guys ready?
I'm ready.
Just change the subject, please.
Perfect. It's a little sore subject. Not really. Josh Allen's performance tonight, 3 for 6. Not so great. Not a lot of things to go off of. Does that frighten you moving forward? That's also taking into consideration that interception that was taken back by the penalty. He did address that saying, all right, I know I can't play hero ball. What do you guys think
I'll go first.
going into the season?
So what's the question? You just talked about it. What's the question? Does this performance bug me?
Does it frighten you for the season?
So, what's my,
What's your outlook?
I would say I take 10% stock into this game because, Mad Men by the number, I'll give you a percentage.
Thank you.
I take 10% stock into this game because I think they went in the mission to run the ball. We know what Josh Allen has been able to do the last couple of weeks. I think his 50% completion percentage isn't too far off of what he's been able to do. We know that it was kind of a cruddy stat. When you only throw 6 passes, it's not the end of the world. You know, if you only, it's preseason, guys.
You're too depressed, man. Cheer up.
No,
You gotta let it go. It's a good debate right there. You gotta let it go.
I'm just 10% stock into this game. I'm not upset. I'm just dumbfounded if nothing else.
David.
I say 50%.
Oh, my God.
The thing to me is Again, he hasn't shown us enough last year, and he was a rookie. This was his time to shine. This was the game to play with the starters. I would feel great if he went out there and scored a touchdown, played great, had a lot of yards.
How does that happen with only 6 balls thrown? How do you expect him to move the ball?
It's not all his fault. I wanted to see the coaches challenge him more and give them the ball more. I maybe want to see run less, throw more. And that didn't happen.
And that makes you frightened?
It doesn't make me frightened. It makes me a little worried. It makes me something to keep an eye on. I don't think it affects anything, but I would feel a lot better if he went out there and tore it up and put some yards up.
So my thought on it.
But the passes he did have, some of them were off target and inconsistent.
My thought, and this is considering the whole preseason here, he's been spectacular based on what he was last year. He's staying in the pocket, and that's thanks to that new offensive line. That offensive line is giving him the protection that he needs to go through his reads. He's no longer staring down his first option. He's looking off at cornerbacks, and that's really what's important in the NFL. You can't be telegraphing passes. That's how you throw a shit ton of interceptions. He's placing those balls in the short and intermediate passes, and that's what everyone was worried about, his inaccurate passes in the short and intermediate game. We've seen with Cole Beasley, he can make those throws. He's capable of making those throws. We all know he can throw the ball deep. I don't see the issue in why everyone is nervous with Josh Allen. I think he'll just be fine. I think the problem with this game was he threw 6 balls, didn't have the opportunity.
Yeah, well, I mean, I completely agree. I wanted to see more of a chance being taken today.
And we all did. I don't think any Bills fan was like, geez, thank God that he only threw 6 passes. I didn't want to see any more. What we want is to see our young quarterback tear it up. And unfortunately, preseason isn't the best place for that. That's why we need week 1.
To me, it looked like more of a showcase of the starting running backs tonight.
I think the past 2 preseason games
Yes, but
were
you want to
pass
see more
heavy.
out of the wide receivers, even though they were trying to emphasize the run.
But as I numerously said several times, I'm not blaming. It's a whole team effort. I didn't blame them. I expected even the coaches to want to see more. I don't hate any of those. I'm sorry, Jake. I don't hate those receivers. I want to see more. It's time to see more out of these receivers.
And I don't think the preseason...
all offseason, we heard receivers this, receivers that. We need weapons. We need weapons. We need to build around Josh Allen. We don't even know if we did that yet.
And the preseason isn't the place to showcase that. I don't think so. I mean, not when you throw 6 passes. You have to look at the other games as a whole. Yes, this was technically the showcase game where the starters are playing into the second half. You have to look at the first 2 games. Cole Beasley, 4 for 4. I mean, Zay Jones making plays. I mean, the tight ends making plays. You can't be disappointed with something that wasn't there.
Listen, we went back and forth from training camp to Buffalo. We saw, we sat in the sun, we looked, we evaluated, we talked about it, we podcasted about it. We had conversations off air about it. We know that these wide receivers look better than they have the last couple of years. You've said it, you said it, we've seen it. We know that. So we know that Josh Allen's working with these guys. We know that there's potential there. Just because we didn't see it today in week 3 of the preseason, when it's supposed to be the important one, doesn't mean the world's over. Maybe McDermott was trying to hold it to his chest about what he has out of his starting quarterback right now. Maybe he doesn't want to show too much of the offense, but doesn't mind showing too much of the run game. I give 10% to this game of how much stock I put into it. Dave wants to throw 50% on it. That's fine. Only time will tell. Go ahead with the next one, Jacob.
And that was it. My other 2 my other 2 questions seem to be part of this heated debate that I don't want to get into.
Fire it up again?
Let's not, because we're at 35 minutes. David, your diamonds in the rough. It's your time to shine, Diamond Dave.
Yeah, Diamonds in the Rough. I've been excited to do this with you guys again. I really like this segment, and again, I'd like some feedback if you guys don't agree with me. If you do agree with me, pat me on the back. No quarterbacks will get this. It's just kind of my thing, because we're going to talk about quarterbacks every single podcast, and we're going to talk about them until they're 6 feet in the ground. We're always just going to talk about quarterbacks.
Sheesh.
Most important position on the field.
My third diamond in the rough is I'm already cheating. My third diamond in the rough is McCoy and Gore. They're sharing this one. They went out there. They made the running back position a threat on this offense. They looked great. Let's keep it going. I think that those guys are just going to be a force this season. Do you guys agree?
I agree.
I think they've become a nice two-headed monster that you can almost rely on totally with. Whether or not the offensive line gives them holes is another story, but I think after today, I'm very comfortable with the run game, which I'm happy they did for me.
Perfect. David?
My second time in the rough is a player that got one last week, too. He also got the number 2 one, and it's actually pretty shocking to me. I was watching the game today, and I realized I'm noticing this player a lot. I noticed him a lot last week. I mentioned him last week, and he also got a sack today.
I'm going to guess Deion Lacey.
Deion Lacey.
Deion
Thank
Lacey.
you. I love you again.
I'm on the fringe with you.
This guy's all over the place. This guy's not going to
So's this guy. So's this guy, guys.
This guy's not going to start. He's all over the place. He's going to make the team. He was a beast on special teams last year, and he's returning the favor again this year. This guy, This guy is going to get some action this year.
He provides great depth to a linebacking core that needs it, honestly. We saw Milano go down last year to a freak injury against the Jets. We know that he can now fill the void at the middle or at the weak or strong side. He didn't fill the void last year. They had someone else step in, which is fine. But I think Deion Lacey, through his special teams prowess and the last couple of games, I think I can trust him going forward.
Perfect. David,
My number one diamond in the rough tonight is, you guys can probably guess it. I've mentioned him several times.
Duke Williams.
Zay Jones.
Duke Williams has made the team tonight, in my humble opinion, and I hope you guys agree, because as I said, he was non-existent 2 weeks ago. The boy from Canada has been talked about 2 weeks in a row.
I think he's from Louisiana.
Had a great
Played
touchdown.
at Auburn.
We can look it up later. If I'm wrong, I'll apologize. Look it up now.
He's not from Canada.
We got it from
Okay, just go
League
more
last year.
forward.
You know what I mean.
Everyone knows.
He's, in my opinion, he made the team. He won in fighting for a spot.
Los Angeles, California.
Stood out more than any other receiver today. Congratulations, in my opinion, he made the team.
Perfect. And that was
Dave's Diamond in the rough. Number 1 going to Duke Williams. Number 82 in your playbooks. Number 1 in Dave's heart.
The size of a tight end.
Oh. Also, do we have something coming up?
Very important announcement to make. Got off the conference call with our friends from Black Button.
Hand me a bottle.
Childish plug here. Our friends at Black Button. We've been drinking their liquor for a long time on this podcast. They take care of us very handsomely, I may say. We'll throw another one up there.
Please.
I can honestly say that they have done us a solid. September 6th, coming up soon, 6 to 10 at Black Button Distilling at 149 Swan Street. You can catch Diamond Dave, host Jake, and Zach there.
Come argue with me.
Come argue with them, honestly, because I'm tired of it. And after today, I'm done with it.
You punch him in his shit.
I know most of you will agree
I
with
will
me.
buy you a drink if you punch him in his shit.
Yeah, and don't forget, I'm pretty sure he owes everyone a drink if Christian Wade makes the team, so keep an eye on that. He didn't play a lick today.
Thank you,
but that's
McDermott,
fine.
for not playing him tonight.
Yeah, but catch us at the kickoff to the season party at Black Button Distilling at 149 Swan Street, okay? Now, we're going to do a battle of the bartenders. The three of us are going against their professional bartenders to see who can make the better drink.
Don't vote for us.
You, the fans, can decide who made a better drink. And honestly, I got a little something to me. I'm not going to lie.
I have nothing.
Yeah, we'll be bringing the madness for sure.
Absolutely. Free pizza promised and delivered by Prima Pizza Pasta on the corner of West Chippewa and Pearl.
I'll make sure to order myself a chicken finger sub.
Here we are, just throwing our two sponsors together to make this party happen for you, the listeners. Hope to see you guys there. There'll be giveaways. We got a signed football from the 2007, the whole roster,
Basically.
2007.
Everyone
Buffalo
matters.
Bills. We have Marshawn Lynch's rookie season. We have Paul Postlesny rookie season. Angelo Crowell's on that ball. The list goes on. Peerless Price. You guys know. I know you guys love.
Peerless Price.
I know you guys love
P's.
Peerless Price. Yeah, absolutely. But check it out. We'll have more giveaways. We'll have some Core Life gift cards.
I have some surprises for you guys, too.
We'll have some Prima Pizza gift cards. There'll be free tastings there. Check it out. Come say hi to us. We will be giving away free bottle opener keychains.
I'm charging
Yes.
$3 for a picture with Diamond Dave.
Yeah, free koozies. We're loading out. We're rolling out the red carpet for the Buffalo Bills season. Come down and join us. I'm excited. These two are excited. You guys should be excited. Come on and hang out with us.
We will see you there.
Take care, guys.
We're not quite done. We have Dave. Our other Dave.
Yeah, so we have Diamond Dave here, but
not done.
winter is coming, because Dave Winter, our premier UFC writer in the Buffalo sports area, has been putting on a clinic on our website throughout the summer and into last fall. Now, September 7th, Excuse me. September 9/7. All right. So September 7th, the day after our Black Button Distilling party, you can catch us having a nice drink, kicking back on our couches, watching UFC. Khabib Nurmagomedov is coming back to the octagon. Dave Winter will have you locked and loaded with his predictions, his picks of the whole main card. Check out our website at www.madmensports.com. Check it out. Give it a read. Let them know what you think. Write a comment. Give it a heart. Do whatever you want. Give it a retweet. Who cares? Whatever you think of it, you let him know. Also, we have an announcement this evening, maybe an hour and a half ago. Our friend Rich Perks has joined the Mad Men squad.
Shout out to Rich.
He will be on the website sometime tomorrow morning on Saturday. Check him out. He's got a nice article about the Buffalo Bills fantasy perspective. I can't wait for that one. It's going to be awesome. Check it out, guys. Thanks for listening. Have a great evening. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you again on Sunday like we always do.
Good night.
And enjoy.
Mad Men out.